Hi, everyone. Well, welcome to English 342. What a crazy day it has been. I am so sorry, and I would like to apologize for having to flex to online the first day of class. I actually went into the office for my office hours, and I was really excited and stopped by, with my mask on to say hello to my chair and to also say hello to my friend Sharon, who's the AS in English. Got down to my office, sat down, and my mom texted me that we had been exposed to COVID through my brother-in-law the night before. So I actually was on campus for about 120 minutes total before I ended up leaving because I don't want to expose anyone to COVID. And I don't have any symptoms yet, and I may not get it at all, but I would rather be safe than sorry. And I don't want to risk being around any of you. So, so we're going to flex to online. The good news is the website is up, and I figured something like this would happen. So we're ready to go online, but I did want to just talk with you for a little bit and do a video and show you where the material is for this week so that you can get started on it. And hopefully, if I test negative in a couple days, we can be back in class next week. So that's my hope, that will all, excuse me, I have asthma, so that's not from COVID. It'll all work out okay. And that's all we can really do, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share screen right now with you so that you can see our website, which you're already probably familiar with at this point anyway, probably talking about things that you've already figured out. So you've looked at, I'm sure, the information about the course and the assignments, but for today, we can look at the weekly work tab and then go to week 1, engaging apolitical adolescents. This is the article that we would have talked about in class today. It is about, it's a really interesting article by Melissa Ames, who is a high school English teacher, and you can access the article by clicking on this link right here. So if you click on that, it'll open up the article. It's rather long and lengthy. We're of course not going to do this this in-class activity, but I still think that these questions are useful to you and that you can think about them as you're reading. What is Melissa Ames' main idea in the article? Who is her audience? How can you tell? Actually, she tells you this, so I'm not going to tell you where, but she does. Melissa Ames extensively cites sources that say the millennial generation is apolitical. Why does she do this? What argument does she make after? So I'm asking you to kind of pick apart this article and spend some time with it. Let me stop sharing for a second, and I'll talk with you a little bit more. So when we start this class, if you're thinking about what's happening in our course, and if you're looking through the weekly work, you'll see that a lot of how I've set up this class is based around dystopian young adult literature. And I am not going to make the assumption that you would teach a young adult, literature course, or you're teaching high school English. But I think this is a good way to start to think about how literature can work in a scaffold manner in a course, right? And if you are teaching high school, I think this could be a really fun unit to teach because it's really relevant to students. So if you're looking at our weekly work, you'll see we're doing things like this article. Class on Fire is another article, Mockingjay. So those are the Hunger Games. We're going to watch the Hunger Games week 2 and 3. Finding Science Fiction is another article. A Wrinkle in Time, the movie, the book Unwind, The Giver, E.T. adaptation, Divergent, The Adoration of Jenna Fox, and Contact. And what you'll find within all these materials is they're all geared towards children, or have a main theme of children or young adults, and how they're working with social justice issues and issues of our world. And that gives us a lens to be able to talk about how students engage, how young students engage with material. And so I'm hoping that it will be an interesting way for you to look at children's literature. It's kind of young adult, but I think it'll be interesting. So hopefully that gives you a little, interest in the class and gives you an idea of what we're thinking about. The Engaging Apolitical Adolescence article is super interesting because it talks about this dystopian material and how students are connecting to it and why they value it. So it's a really good way to start the class so that then we can look at these pieces and think about what engages students and what makes students interested in the material within their classroom. So it's kind of the cornerstone of everything else that we'll look at, or one of the lenses that we'll look at these different materials through. So I hope it'll be fun and I hope it'll be interesting for you. I love this class. It's really fun to teach. Usually you've seen the material, a little bit of it before. Most of you have watched the Hunger Games and most of this material. So what's nice is that instead of looking at it from the lens of entertainment, you can look at it from the lens of social justice. So what is it doing? Why is it doing it? And how does it engage people? Most of the time, these materials are working with government issues, how the government is running, poverty. They deal with so many different social justice issues that are really important for us to look at. So I'm hoping that you'll find the material interesting. I guess the other thing I'd like to talk about, since I won't get to do this with you today, are the assignments. So we will be doing an electronic journal, which is basically where you will respond to the material that we're looking at that week. So for example, this week you're reading Engaging Apolitical Adolescence by Melissa Ames. So you would read that material and then you would respond in a post on Blackboard. And we do a post for every material that we watch. So there's 15 of them and they're worth 20 points each. That electronic journal, because we were going to meet face to face, I had it as a written response, but it could be either a written response or 150 word written response or a 3-minute video if you want to do it that way. Since we're not meeting in person, I like video as an option. It gives me a chance to see people. Not that we won't go back to meeting in person, next week. We'll just have to see how it goes. But that assignment is due by Fridays at midnight. So you would read Engaging Apolitical Adolescence by Melissa Ames this week, and then you would do your journal posting by next week. Responding to other students' journals isn't required because they don't have points attached to it, but it is recommended. And it's a good way for you to start thinking about what other people are saying and us to have conversations with each other outside of class. Another assignment in this class are microtheme essays. And you're going to have 3 microtheme essays due throughout the semester. They're worth 150 points each. One is due on Sunday, September 12th. One is due on Sunday, October 10th. And the third one is due on Sunday, November 14th. And those essays, you can either look at the material prior and pick one to write your essay on, or 2. You might want to connect them. This will make sense as we continue on. A lot of times the movie is going to attach to an article that we just read. So I'm looking for you to look at these materials and spend some time delving into what's interesting about them and what's valuable about them and how you think they could work in a classroom or how they could work within your field of study, because not all of you are going to be teachers. The other assignment is we have a midterm video due on Sunday, October 24th. And that's worth 100 points. And a final project, which we'll talk about more later, which is worth 150 points. And I'm going to share screen again. If you want more information about these assignments, they are on the assignments tab here on our website. And you can read about them here if you want some more information. I'm going to stop sharing again. So quickly for the electronic journal or the blog vlog assignment, which will be due this Friday, since we're not meeting, let's talk about that for a second. A lot of times people ask me for prompts, and I'm not really big on prompts because I want you to think about the material in a way that makes sense in your life, makes sense in your future about what you're going to do later, makes sense for what you value and what you want to think about. So I tend to do some really open-ended discussions. And I did put those 4 questions on the weekly work. And if those seem like areas that you want to delve into, I think those would be some really interesting areas to talk about, but I don't necessarily need you to just answer those 4 questions. What I'd like you to do is delve into the article and do some analysis. So think about what's in there, or find one area in there that's really interesting, and then spend some time teasing out that idea. So for example, one of the things that Melissa Ames says in the articles, she talks about how, and this is an older article, it was in 2013 it was written, but she talks about how they did a survey of some students, college students, and they said that, and this is where it gets dated, is they would give up their iPod, we don't have those really anymore, to give up their voting rights for a year. And they would, I think the article says specifically, they give it up for a lifetime for $1 million. And I think that might have changed possibly with the political climate in the United States in the last, 8 years. People maybe value voting a little bit more, but I always find that to be a shocking kind of statistic, even from years ago. So you could find an area like that that's interesting, and then talk about it and how you relate to that, and how it relates to, the material that she's talking about, the dystopian literature, the Hunger Games, and she talks about a lot of different types of dystopian material. This is just an idea. I'm not suggesting that you have to go down this road. I'm just trying to give you something that you could work with, that you might want to look at. There's a lot of other ideas within the article that are super interesting. She also, I'll give you another idea so you have a couple different things to think about. She does have an audience. It's one of the questions that I have on the website. And you could think about the audience and why she chose that audience and why she wrote it the way she did, and how that relates back to the material. I don't want to tell you who the audience is because I'd be giving it away. But you could relate as somebody maybe going to be in that audience, and how it relates to you and how you think the material could work. Anyway, these are just some ideas. And really the blog, vlog, electronic journal, I'll use them interchangeably. There are ways for you to really start working with the text and really digging into the text and seeing what other students say about the text. So I would definitely find a portion of the text that's interesting or valuable. I probably would quote that within my response. And remember that if you're going to use direct quotes and use exact words, that you're going to have to cite it. At least at minimum, give it a tag. And you're going to need to do that in your micro themes anyway. And we're at that kind of, upper division course that you're probably familiar with doing that. Doesn't matter to me if it's APA or MLA. I'm not looking for a timestamp when we get to movies. I'm just looking that at least you nod where you got the information from. I hope this is helpful. I'm so sorry we're not meeting today, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I really do try to respond to all emails within 24 hours, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And I will let you know if I end up getting sick, and then I won't be responding as quickly, but I'm just quarantined right now, feeling great. So hopefully it stays this way. I hope you have a really great day. Just to let you know too, my chair and my dean are aware that we won't be holding class and that we're flexing online this week, and we will be taking it on a week by week basis. So everyone's aware, and I'm again really sorry to disappoint you. I'm extremely disappointed myself, but hopefully I'll get to see you next Monday. Okay, you take care of yourself, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.